Hi guys, I'm with Grappling Hearts. We're getting ready to have the Hitman himself, Quentin Rosenzweig, on here. Super excited for him because he's such a high level dude and an even better competitor. He actually got the nickname Hitman because he was getting really good at getting guys out of the competition within the first 30 seconds. So I feel like that's super cool to be at that level and be able to accomplish that. He's been on a lot of big stages, won against a lot of bigger names. Some of the stages he's actually been on would be On It, EBI, Subspectrum, and then he's won against names like Jason Rao. That's a guy up in Canada that's really good with leg locks. He's won against Gordon Ryan. So with that being said, we're just waiting on Quentin to get in here and kind of pick his brain a little bit. I'm super excited about the page. We officially hit over 700 likes, so thank everyone for that. Whenever we do hit 1,000, or if we ever do, I'd like to do something special. Not sure if that'll ever happen, but if it does, then woo. Um, so yeah, for a little background on Quentin, he's out of 10th Planet in Georgia. Um, He's really known for his leg locks, but he's also kind of, I don't want to say an oddity, because I feel like all 10th Planet's odd, but his setups are super different. But with that being said, we're getting ready to have him in here. And boom. Here we go. Hi, Quentin.
Hey, can you hear me?
I hear you now, yes.
All right, cool.
So thanks for joining us today. I know it's kind of a little different than what you're used to. Um, can you hear me? I don't think you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Okay, you can hear me? We're good. Okay.
There's a
So,
little bit of a lag, I think.
got you. We'll see if we can work with that. uh, so I was just saying that you're out 10th Planet. Your setups are a little different, and that's really cool. So I was just kind of curious because I was kind of snooping. I was trying to find a little bit of background on you. I was curious as to what you did before jiu-jitsu, what kind of jobs you might have worked, other hobbies, what got you into jiu-jitsu, and why you picked 10th Planet to go under or go with.
Okay, yeah. I started jiu-jitsu when I was really young, so it's been my job for a long time. I
Got
worked at
you.
like a movie theater and like a supermarket for a little bit, like when I was in high school, but I've been doing jiu-jitsu professionally or like as a living for the last almost. Um, and I started with Knuckle Up. I've only been with 10th Planet for about a year and a half. And the main reason for that was because of Sean Applegate and Marvin Castile trained with me, and I was looking for a big team to train with because I was
Got
at a
you.
smaller team, and I just didn't get the kind of push that I needed to grow my brand and everything like that, partners. So I thought uh, I needed to join a bigger team, so I had some people. And Marvin's like, "Well, you've always been like a 10th Planet guy, like you like doing jujitsu and spoke. You hang out with us all the time. Why not be a part of 10th Planet?" So I went and hung out with Eddie and talked with him, and it was just the right fit. I love all the 10th Planet guys and been great to me.
That's cool. I like that. You definitely have your style, I feel like. I was saying that you have a lot of matches, and why they call you Hitman is because a lot of your matches don't go past 30 seconds, dude. How long or how do you think you worked up to that, and about how long did it take you to find that sweet spot where you just knew how to get them out like that?
Well, I mean, I I do role models for stuff like that, but I think it was just I think it's the way I think. Chess player, I like strategy stuff, so I see things to like the finality. I don't think like, well, I'm just gonna pass the guard and try to hold. This has never been my style. Jiu-jitsu is about submission. Why not try to do that as quick as possible? Like you don't want to waste energy if you're in a tournament format. Like you don't want to be tired for the next round. And not to mention, it doesn't hurt your hands if you're knocking people out quickly. So I was like, I'm just going to go at people. I'm going to lay it on the table. I'm either going to go out of my shield or I'm taking you home quick. And I've had longer matches and stuff like that. But I think like looking up to guys like Joe and like other leg lockers came before me, like Eddie Cummings, like they're all quick finishers. If you're a good leg locker, you're not missing in, you're getting your entries, and you're looking for the finality of the match. Like you want to end it. So that's just what I do. It's just a
I feel like that's a good mentality to have. And speaking of mentality, anytime we see you or anytime I see you competing, you're always so chill, especially like even before and after the matches. You never look nervous, never like, oh my God, what am I going to do with this guy? With that, as far as competition mindset,
yeah,
have you always been like that?
yeah. I think it's just like a little bit. I remember I had an MMA fight. My first MMA fight, I was backstage, like joking around,
Yeah.
and one of the guys cornered me. Was like, he said after the fact, he's like, I didn't think you were ready at all. I won that fight in a minute. He's like, I was like, what's the point of getting nervous? It doesn't change the fact that I have to go out there and compete. Like if I'm calm, my mind's clear, and a clear, calm mind is a dangerous mind because then I'm thinking about what I have to do, what the next steps are, like how I'm going to compete, and like getting like I'll be mad at myself after matches if I don't do as well as I think I'm going to do. But I'm not going to be mad at someone else. Like this is fun. If it wasn't fun, I wouldn't do it.
So I think makes you such a great competitor. Like I say, even after matches, you're always chill. You're always laughing, having a good time, inviting people out to hang out afterwards or whatever. I think the first time I seen you was in Florida, and or I seen you in person, and it was not what I was expecting. So you go out there with high level dudes, and you're expecting them to be all like grouchy or not as fun to be around. Um,
Nah, I'm just a big fucking goofball. I'm a kid basically. I like playing, I like having fun, I like cracking jokes. Like if it wasn't for jiu-jitsu, I'd probably be trying to do stand-up comedy. Like I like making people laugh. And like part of jiu-jitsu is like bringing people joy. I don't do jiu-jitsu to be like yeah, I might roll hard and I like to train hard, but like I like hanging out with my friends. I like exploring the ideas of jiu-jitsu. I approach it from more of like an intellectual standpoint than anything else. Like they're mean and like tense all the time. Like they typically don't do as well, and it's hard to it's hard to be creative when they're in a state of like frustration and anger. So like I like being creative in my jiu-jitsu too. It's a flow. It's an art. So I just want to I want to have fun with people. I want to enjoy people. I appreciate people, and that's part of like if you want to be an instructor in jiu-jitsu, you have to appreciate what they have.
that's a good quality to have. So as far as like competitions, what would you say your favorite either show or stage to be on is, and why would you say that?
Kasai was a lot of fun. The guys there were really nice. It was a cool production. Like it was cool getting to like choose your walkout music. And I did like the Fourth of July show in Orlando when I did it, so it was cool like, walking out. I came out to like uh, Born in the USA with like an American flag. That was really cool. And then EBI is really cool because it's just a cool feeling. Like Joe's been there a bunch of times. Like it's cool hanging out with Eddie. It's cool like being in the Orpheum. It's just it's a different vibe.
or even on stages like, EBI and Kasai, when did you realize, like, oh, hell, I'm getting to this level now? Like, what was your defining point to realize that you're able to compete with higher level dudes on a regular basis like that?
Uh, well, I think I was a brown belt at the time, but I had a match with Tex Johnson, who was already like tapping guys like Davi Ramos and stuff like that. And Tex and I have always been cool, but we're always like a little bit of competitive beef with us. So I was not as big as I am now, and I was like smaller and younger. And I went out and I heel hooked him, and I got up and I was like, "Holy fuck! I thought he was gonna murder me." And I was shit. I guess I can do this. And I made it to like the finals of that, and I was like, well, I guess I can hang. And there was two more comps where I went to, and I was like nervous. We're like,
Yeah.
oh, it's scary. I don't know how I'm gonna do. Well, I'm here. Let's see what happens. And then I would just start tapping people quick, and I was like, oh, these people can't hang. And then I would like show up to train with like people who were supposed to be like big names, and I would just murder them. Like I tap them like 5, 6 times in a 5 minute roll, and I'd be like, oh, I guess I can do this and be really good. The hard part is just getting people to like recognize, like trying to get on shows like Submission Underground and stuff like that. Like it's not always
Right.
easy getting on those shows, but like you should do what you gotta do and keep showing people. I think sometimes the fact that my matches are so quick, uh, it tends to make people go like, "Oh, we haven't seen enough of them." But hopefully, I'll get on there soon.
I'm sure he will, man. He definitely deserves a spot. Speaking of Tex Johnson, man, he's super competitive dude, super big dude. But I seen earlier this year, after all them wildfires out in Australia, you all did a seminar to raise money to go towards that. Um, can you kind of talk about that a little bit and what it was like to work with Tex on that?
Oh yeah, so that all started because Dan Martinez and we were just talking about like we're both big animal people. Like I got a bunch of pets. Like I probably like for the longest time I thought I was gonna be like the next crocodile hunter or whatever, like growing up. So like Dan and I were talking and we're like, man, this sucks. Like watching all those like wildlife die and like everything going on there. Uh, so I was like, hey, like we're kind of famous. Like let's do something to try to help. And that's how it all started piecing together. And like we had people like hop on, and then their schedules were too busy, like Kyle Bain, and had to drop out because they just had too much on their plate. And
Got you.
Tets, I've known Tets for like a decade, maybe longer, like since I was a kid. Because we used to train together in Atlanta. Like we came up through the same gym at Knuckle Up.
Oh, I didn't know
And
that.
he actually helped me get ready for my first MMA fight.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I've been dealing with Tets for a long time. So I hit him up, and he was super excited, super happy to help. And Tess gets a bad rap sometimes. He's a
Yeah,
very passionate dude when it comes to competing. Like he's kind of dude that like he might punch somebody during a match, but that's his Tess, and you gotta love him for it. So he was happy to hop on. Like I met him down there the day before the seminar. We shared a hotel and everything, super cool. We got drunk at Universal, and we had a blast. Money for Australia, and they did it all.
that's awesome, man. I remember when we was in Florida, dude. I was like super shy 'cause it's like the first bigger show I've been to, and I got kind of off by myself. And texting Kevin Gallagher were both like buying me shots and stuff. I was like, this is awesome. But I feel like, dude, people really do get intimidated by Tex because, like you said, when he's competing, he's like ready to murk somebody. But it's super cool that people of your
Oh yeah.
caliber reach out like that and try to help out, especially like across other countries. Is that something you'd be like
Yeah, I'm just
interested
happy
in
to be
doing
in a
again?
position to help. Oh yeah, for sure. Like I did a fundraiser for COVID. I did it with my
Really?
instructional ad through Punjabi through BMAT site, and we raised like over $1,000 for the CDC Foundation. I was selling at like $5 a pop, and so many people bought it. It was really
Oh,
cool to see the community come forward very early, and yeah, we raised some good money. And it was a lot of fun. Like I like doing jujitsu. If I have like the means to like get by, I'm happy to like help. It's just I don't know. It
that's
doesn't take a
super
lot to make
cool
me happy.
though.
Like I like doing jujitsu.
Yeah, I actually bought that instructional, but I didn't realize that's what that money was going towards. You showed some pretty different setups on that. It's like, isn't that the one where he was? or correct me if I'm wrong, but is that the one where it was like the hitman back attacks?
Oh, I didn't hear the last part.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but was that the one that was the hitman back attacks?
Yeah, it was.
Got you.
It was the Hitman Back Attack one, and I had it going for a while. We sold a lot of copies like early on, and then like as soon as coronavirus hit, like a bunch of people were dropping stuff for free,
Yeah,
and I was like, well, I don't know how I feel about dropping something for free, but I'll lower the price a bunch. Like I was talking about BMAC because he manages me now, uh, and I was like, why don't we just like donate the money? He's like, are you? Like, yeah, like we don't have a bunch of money right now, so let's make it cheap, and then let's send the money to charity where it's needed. So that's what we
that's
did.
cool. Yeah, stuff you showed on there was cool because I remember I bought it and I was watching it at work that night and I come home and I was telling Joe about it and then we went to his buddies to train and I was trying to show them and get them to work with it and they were like, "Oh, that's dope. Okay, cool." But anyways, um, what do you feel like as a competitor making your come up would be your biggest challenge?
Was my biggest challenge, or what was my biggest challenge, or what
Yeah,
still
like
is the
making.
biggest?
Well, let's do both.
I didn't hear that again.
Oh, you're
Sorry.
good, man. I think we're wagging kind of. Uh, I said, let's hear both. What would be your biggest challenge making your come up, and what do you feel like will be your biggest challenge?
I think my biggest challenge during my come up was, hmm. I think a lot of it was getting out of my own way. A lot of times your own ego will like slow you down in your progression. There's a lot of times in the sport where you're like, oh, I made it. I'm the best. I'm gonna kill everyone. And then like you meet somebody who gives you some problems. Like styles make matchups, and like there's guys who would give me problems and stuff like that. Or maybe I didn't take them as seriously, or maybe it was guys that I was friends with, trouble competing against people I was friends with, because like I'm like, oh, I don't want to hurt them. Like most people, I just go out with like reckless abandon. And I'm like, I'm gonna murder you. And then other people, it's like they're my friend. So that was real hard for a while getting past that. Uh, and then like yeah, like getting out of your own way, like eliminating the ego from like the situation. And then I think like moving forward is this exposure. I'm not super great at marketing myself. That's why like I've always had guys like Josh LeDuc was my manager for a long time, great friend of mine, like you know Josh.
Yeah,
and
super cool, dude.
and BMAC. Yeah, so like having guys like that and like letting guys like that growing my brand and growing everything go a long way. I think being more active on my social media too. I'm like someone who naturally like social media doesn't come naturally to me. Like putting stuff out there, I'm very like private and I do my own thing, like the training in secret kind of thing, where you just
Yeah,
like come out of nowhere and like murder people. So like that's a little bit of a stretch for me, but like I'm trying.
I mean, that's all that matters. At least you're trying, and like I feel like you're making a lot of progress. What are you trying to get onto next, or what do you think's next for you as far as competition wise?
I don't know. It's whatever. I talked with the Red Bowie guys. I might do that gi team tournament. I think that'll be a
Yeah,
lot of fun. I haven't done a gi competition in like a couple of years. I think the last thing I did was like the Abu Dhabi World Pro Trials, where like I placed third in the absolute, so that was cool. But I have like some secret gi skills. Emil always jokes with me about it. He goes, you might be better in the gi than you are in no gi, and I was like, shh, don't tell people, because it's like pulling it out on people when they're like, oh, he's a no gi guy, and then like in training. But I'm just ready to compete. Like not competing for this long. This is the longest I've gone without competing since I was like probably in my 20,
that's
because I'm used
wild.
to competing like every other like month at least at the like the longest. So like I'm going crazy. Like I've gotten a few rolls in here and there during the
Yeah,
quarantine. I wake up every morning, lift weights and stuff like that like crazy till I can't walk. But I'm just ready to compete again. I'm ready for everything to go back to normal and start competing.
I feel like a lot of people are like that though, but I think it's interesting to hear what someone is wanting to try to do next and that kind of deal. So with everything going on, have you, you said you still been getting in some roles. What's your, I don't know if you're cool with talking about it. What's your training been like since all it started? Like, has it been sporadic? Like, or have you been able to hit people up?
Very sporadic. I filmed in an instructional. Like I had, like one of my friends from Atlanta hit me up and wanted to come down and train with me for like a week. So like he paid me to come down here and train. So there was like a week period where I was training like every day. And then I had an affiliate gym, or like soon to be an affiliate because I just moved down to Savannah
Yeah.
with my buddy Landon Mack. And so I train with him occasionally too, but he's a 145 pounder and I'm walking around at like 200 right now. So,
A little bit of
and
a
he's a
difference
purple
there.
belt. So it's a little hard. Like he's a good purple belt. He came up under Robbie D'Onofrio, so like he knows his stuff.
Oh,
Like
okay.
Robbie's an instructor, but it's a little different. Like you know, it's like you train with Joe. It's like you
Yeah.
training with Joe.
It's
So
definitely harder to make it
there's
more realistic.
it's still fun. Yeah. I need to come up and train with Joe sometime. I love Joe. He's a great dude.
Yeah, man. We'd love to have you up anytime, dude. We got a little, actually, I'm actually out here, a little space of our own. It's not very big, but hey, whatever works, you know. Uh, but yeah,
Oh, I
for
feel you. I
sure.
got Matt set up in my living room right now.
Bet. But what do you feel like would be your biggest accomplishment so far?
Well, I think the biggest one I've accomplished so far was probably the Honor Invitational. Like, I submitted Kyle Dame in the finals. Like, Kyle's a stud right now.
Yeah, he's blowing up
Uh,
real big.
I don't know. Yeah. I think I have like the last submission on him, if I'm not mistaken.
That's
It's
cool.
either me or Kenan Duarte, I think. But Kyle's a good dude. And that was before I was 10th Planet, so I actually got to coach him at a bunch of events too, which was a lot of fun.
That's cool. So
But
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
oh, you're good.
Uh, so before you were with 10th Planet, who were you under?
Well, so I was under like my own affiliation for a little bit. I got my black belt under Ricardo Mergel, who's a
Okay.
red belt, like old school Brazilian, like intense training. Like, he's kind of guy like if some other black belt walked in, he's like, "Oh, go test his black belt." When I was like a purple belt or a blue belt,
Oh God.
so it was a lot of that, like old school Brazilian, like hard ass training. But yeah, I got my black belt under him and my first degree. And then I was running an academy for a long time. And I did the dual affiliation join with 10 Planet. And I had a split with the academy that I was at. And then I basically, since last August, I've just been traveling, teaching seminars to make money and doing everything like that, trying to set up to open my gym down here in Savannah. So I'll be opening 10 Planet Savannah down here. Uh, but it's been really good. Like I was doing really well, making money, teaching seminars and traveling all over the place. Like I've gone up to Canada. I trained with Kent Peters and taught a seminar at his school. I've been to East Coast. I've been to Texas a bunch. I was teaching out there for a while. So I've had a lot of cool training experiences too. Like I trained with Lovato, which was amazing.
Oh, that's
That guy's
cool.
really good. uh,
Where's been your favorite place to teach at?
Probably 10th Planet Austin. Like I've made a connection with people there. Like I have a lot of friends there. And Curtis Hembroff's like, an amazing guy. Like I've stayed at his house. Like I've watched his house when he was out of town. And it's a good environment there. There's a lot of good guys they bring in to train with. Like I got to train with like Tim Kennedy out there, who's really good. I train with Lovato. I train with all the guys out there who are good. Like it's fun. They do like a 10 round Tuesday. Like every Tuesday, they do 10 rounds of like 7 minutes training. So that's kind of training I like to do. So I just like to go hard.
For sure. So you mentioned training with Lovato. Where you're at that level, do you still get starstruck when you do get those opportunities? Like, oh my God, this is awesome.
Oh yeah, I fanboy out totally. Like everyone always. I remember when I won the Anna Invitational, I asked to like take a picture with Lovato like beforehand because I was fanboying out there, and then I called him out for a match afterwards after I won. And he's like, "I'm pretty sure that guy asked me for a picture of that stage." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm a fan too. Like I
Right.
love jiu-jitsu. That's why I do it."
That's awesome, man.
But I still want to roll against them.
Well, I was asking because, like, I remember we did that, or when Joe did that Grand Prix up in Boston, he told me, he's like, if you're going to fangirl, do it away from me. So, like, I remember Joe was warming up, so I was running around with my camera in the other building and trying to hit everyone up before he got done. I was like sneaking pictures and stuff. So I was wondering, I was like, if he's cool with this, at what level do you get comfortable being around this type of skill and like not being all hyped about it?
I don't know. Like there's little moments where you like catch yourself and you're like, holy fuck. Like I remember I was backstage at Kasai and I was like sitting talking with Craig and I look around and I was like, Craig Jones is right here. Like we got Boogie and Gio. Who else was there? Like there was just a bunch of guys around me and I was like, I'm sitting down and like I'm surrounded by these people I've looked up to for like ever.
Right.
And like I'm sitting here as like an equal with them and it was just crazy. And you're like, you kind of like, you just take it in and you like soak it up and you're like, oh, well, this is cool. So I think I even like took a video and posted on my story and I was like, when the fanboy dreams become a reality.
Speaking of that kind of thing, when was the first, or who was the first person that you walked across the stage from, or the mat, whatever, and it was someone that you've been watching, and you're like, oh my God, I get to compete against them now.
That's that's a hard one. There's been a few of them over the years. Like I remember the first time I competed against Tex, that was a big deal to me because Tex is somebody like I trained with and I looked up to for a long time. So that was big. And then I competed against was kind of one of those. Because like you see Kyle and he's massive.
Right.
And I'm like, oh fuck, that guy's
I
so
didn't realize
good.
like he's a lot bigger in
Uh
person than what he is on media.
yeah. Yeah, it's weird because like I like compete up weight divisions too. Like I very what I probably should. Like I just like competing against bigger guys, so I think it's more of a challenge and I find more fun in it. So like almost all my titles are like heavier than my actual weight class or like in absolute divisions. So it's always crazy and I see some people and I'm like, oh shit. Like I did a gi match against Abraham Marte and that
Yeah.
dude is fucking huge. And that was one of those matches where I was like, I know who this guy is. I watched his I think it was BJJ hacks at the time or something like that. Like
Yeah.
before Flow Grappling and Hugh Teed went into that. I was like, I watched a whole documentary on him. And then I was like competing with him and it was like a very competitive match. And I was like, oh, I guess I'm good in the gi too.
That's awesome. Do you try to split your time up in training no gi or gi pretty equally, or do you spend more one time on the other?
uh, for the longest time, I probably trained more in gi than I did no gi. I definitely train more no gi now. It's hard to find like gi training partners. It's surprising, but like most people when they come to train with me, they want to train no gi anyway because they want to do leg locks.
Right.
So and then doing the planet, like we mainly like I mainly do no gi. Like I'll probably have like one or two gi classes, but mainly no gi.
That's cool. So in Florida, we did a seminar with you, and I remember people were asking you, like, trying to find holes in your techniques, and you would just sit and, like, I remember you saying something along the lines of jiu-jitsu is like a Rubik's Cube to you, and you just love people trying to do that, and you trying to trying to, like, put up walls.
Oh yeah,
Is that something you do pretty often, just playing like that a little bit?
yeah, I definitely do. I think a lot of times like people get too caught up with like pride in their technique. Like if you're gonna call me out on my technique, I'm gonna ask you what you're calling me out on it, or like if they're trying to find holes in it, like cool, tell me because I want to know. Like I'm a jiu-jitsu nerd. Like tell me what you see. Like, I'm not gonna be offended by it. And then like something I just call them out on it, they're like get quiet or whatever. They're like, oh, you're just talking shit to talk shit. Like my idea, like I want to make my jiu-jitsu as complete as possible. So like if someone has more insight than I do, or they see something that I don't, cool, tell me. But in jiu-jitsu is like I want to eliminate your defenses and make the best opportunity to apply leverage onto something. So that's what I try to think about and what I try to do, and I try to be creative in it. Like the creativity aspect draws me to it. Like it allows me to be like an artist in it. And like I like being an artist. I like being creative. I like following like the ideas that pop into my head where I'm like, what happens if I change this angle a little bit? What happens if I change my grip from here to here? Like that's part of what keeps me engaged in it.
That's cool, especially at that levels. Like you said, I feel like a lot of guys do get like either A, offended when you try to ask them, well, what if this happened? Or B, their ego's like, no, no, that wouldn't happen. Let's just move on.
Yeah, I think a lot of that's like the old school mentality where it's like, oh, you don't ask a black belt or another
Right.
black belt like any questions, or you don't ask them a role. I'm the exact opposite. Ask me all the questions you want, and you better ask me a role. Like I used to tell my students, I was like, whoever asks a role first, I was like, you're probably the most likely to get promoted because that shows me you're eager to like move forward. Maybe you want to learn something. Like I want people to call me out. Like if you ever see a black belt telling people like, oh, lower belt shouldn't ask me to roll, that's because it's scared that a lower belt's going to attack them. I'm not scared anyone's going to attack me.
It's cool to have that mentality. So the last question I probably got for you is either one as far as seminars or instructionals, what do you or who do you feel like you learned the most from and what was it on?
Okay, I got the best one for this. There's actually two. The first one was Adam Rezovic, and the biggest thing he showed was getting up under your elbow from half guard, and it literally changed the way I played jiu-jitsu. And then the second was Rodolfo Vieira. I was a huge Adolfo fan for like ever. I used to watch his highlight video when I was like 19 to like work out to and like 20. I would like go in the gym and work out and I watch it and I'm like, "Ah, that's gonna be me someday." And I got to like do a seminar with him and I never realized how like detail oriented he is. Like the slightest little details on how he puts his hands and everything like that. I remember when he put like side mount pressure on me, I was like, oh my God, I've never felt anything like this. I felt like my head was gonna explode. I still think Adolfo might be one of the greatest jiu-jitsu guys ever. And
Oh, for
because of the
sure.
weight of the IBJF, we lost him to MMA. Hidalgo's a monster. So
Absolutely.
yeah, Hidalgo and Adam Redzovic.
That's cool. Now before we head off, I will ask you one more thing and then we'll sign off. What advice would you have for anyone who's competing at a lower level who's trying to come up and trying to make that rise like kind of like you have?
I think the thing is just to have fun with it. Like jiu-jitsu is fun. We do it because it's fun. Like we wouldn't do it otherwise. So like as soon as it stops being fun to you, like remember why you do it. Like the competitions don't matter. Not really. Especially at the lower belts, like you're not making any money or anything like that. Like you're going out there to have fun. So just have fun, explore your technique and see what works.
I like that. I like that. So before we head off here, if you have any sponsors or anyone you want to give a shout out to at this point, you could mention them.
Okay, check it out on it.com. Also, Red Bowie, use code Quentin on your checkout. Get some CBD products, especially during these times of quarantine and everything like that. People got anxiety, inflammation. CBD helps.
Awesome. And with that, I think we'll be
Oh, and 10 Planet Savannah.
bet.
Yeah, check out 10 Planet Savannah if you're in the South Georgia area or just want to stop through, see me and get heel hooked. 10 Planet Savannah. That's 10psav.com if you want to check out our website.
Great. So with that, thanks for joining us, Quentin. Thanks for your time.
Of course.
You have a good rest of the day, sir.
All right, tell Joe I say hi.
For sure. With that, we're going to head off here as soon as I figure out how. And boom.
You gotta hit leave.